done to get respect up on the street.
Hi there, my name is Jeff, but most of you know me as the Green Reaper, and I have urgently called you here to witness a truly unfortunate death. The death of Lennie Small. I have been spying on this huge man for many years now, whose personality somewhat reminds me of a bear. His name is slightly odd because his name is Lennie Small, and yet he is quite a big guy. I stalk him as he goes to work every day, wearing the same old denim trousers and black shapeless hats. It gets a bit repetitive now, but they can't afford it nothing anyways. He has a friend that he follows every time. His name's George. George is quite a handy guy, especially for Lennie, because he's got some weird and crazy things going up in his head. Lennie is actually quite loyal to George, very loyal. He treats him like a dad, always walking behind George, even in the open, and listening to what he says, like when to talk and when not to. When I first met Lennie, he had large pale eyes with wide sloping shoulders. I think he was a bit tired that day, because Lennie is a very hard-working guy and does his job really well, which George actually praises him for. I remember one time when Lennie used a dinner fork instead of a pitchfork to pick up some haystacks because he couldn't find a pitchfork. Ha ha, good times.
The American Dream. For poor migrant workers like George and Lennie, the American dream is nothing more than an illusion and a trap. George constantly keeps the dream out in front of the huge man as a goal. Their farm is a place where they would live together, have animals, grow their own crops, and in general feel safe. Lennie has little memory, but the story of their dream is one he knows by heart. While George never really believes in this farm, Lennie always embraces it with childlike enthusiasm. Every time he makes George tell the story, his enthusiasm excites George too. Lennie's innocence keeps the dream alive, but this human imperfection makes the dream impossible to come true. Lennie's greatest feeling of security comes from petting soft things. When the rest of the world gets complicated and scary, petting soft things helps Lennie feel safe. In petting dead mice, Lennie's doing something that makes him feel safe. Society as a whole would disapprove of what he's doing, but Lennie sees nothing wrong in his actions. When they have their farm, as George tells him now, Lennie will not need to be scared of bad things anymore, and he can tend the rabbits and do whatever he wants.
Lennie is very respectful to George. Before they went to the ranch for their new job, George told Lennie to go hide in the bush when he gets into trouble. And Lennie, being like a terrier very loyal to George, he listened. Lennie being Lennie, he gets into trouble once again. He knew he did something wrong this time for killing Curly's wife, so he ran to the bushes and hid there and waited for his friend George to once again be his hero. George gave Lennie a good last sight of what life could have been for Lennie, where he could have lived off the fat of the land and how thick the cream would have been, and so hard to cut through. However, George did what he had to do. It was for the better. Lennie now lives in a safer, happier place, where he has animals like pigs, cows, and most importantly, different colored rabbits, and even ketchup with beans. Everything comes true here. Everything comes true here. This is the American dream.